Jan Doyle. Welcome to Wise Talk. Today I'm really happy to have two particular guests on the show tonight because they're personal friends of mine, so I didn't have to do too much arm twisting to get them here. I'd like to welcome Kathleen Mary Chisholm, President of the Connecticut Piecemakers Guild.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so happy to have you here, Kathleen.
Happy to be here.
And I also like to welcome Laureen Pekar, who is the chairman of
of our quilt show, the Spring Shower of Quilts.
And you're also vice president.
Yes, I am.
And you're doing a fine, fine job.
Oh, thank you.
Before we talk about the quilt show, I want to just tell me about the Guild. What is this Guild all about?
Well, the Guild is composed of, right now we have over 200 members.
That's an incredible number.
Yes, it is. And they're incredible people. It's all about the love of quilting. This is how it started. This is how we got interested in all the things that we do. And part of it is supporting the community. Mm-hmm. And the way we support the community is by two ways: donating quilts, and also having our big quilt show and donating the money to charities.
Now that's really interesting. So in a second we're going to talk to Laureen about that, but all the monies that are generated are given right back into the community. And you say you donate quilts. Who do you donate quilts to?
Well, our biggest client right now is Hole in the Wall Gang that was started by Paul Newman up in upstate Connecticut for children with cancer. And every child who goes to the summer programs gets a quilt.
Well, that's really a big deal.
Yes, yes.
And so we're going to be talking more about that in a few minutes and show one example of the quilt that's donated. But I'd like to get right into the quilt show. Laureen, you have a big job ahead of you. Why are we having a quilt show besides making money for charities? What are the members getting from it?
Well, the members can, when they make their quilts, they can display them. It's like having an art show.
Yes.
We have a quilt show.
Yes, yes. And I also understand they can, like an art show or a photography show, they can win ribbons. Is that true?
Yes, they can. We have the month before, the quilts that are being judged are collected, and we have two judges come in, and they are put into categories, different categories, and we have them judged.
Now, I notice up here there's a second place winner. Who got this second place winning ribbon?
I did.
Oh, wow.
That's my first one. I never had one before. This is the first quilt I've ever hung up.
This is amazing. On your first quilt, you won a ribbon, and this is your family tree.
Yes, it is.
This is absolutely, you have a big family.
I do have a big family. I have 4 children. They're all married, and I have 7 grandchildren.
Now, that's a big family. Now, when I was talking to you, you didn't know what you were doing, but other members of the Guild helped you.
Yes, I did not know what I was doing. What happened was that I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get there. And even though I took a class on applique, I still didn't know what to do to make the quilt. And my evening group is the one that helped me along with it and got me going. This was done on a different background, actually, just the branches and the tree. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know whether I should cut it off. I wanted a landscape quilt. I decided, but I didn't know what to do. And someone finally said to me, Laureen, just do it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I did. I cut it off, and then I went to the retreat that we have, and they said, okay, well, you have to make mountains. I said, how do I make mountains? So they were going to show me, but then somebody had mountains in fabric.
Wow.
And they gave it to me, and I didn't even know her name.
Wow.
That's one of the things I really like about the Quilt Guild is that they are very generous with their talent, with their fabric. You need something, and they're right there.
They're right there.
And that's all 200 of them.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. So you entered it into a quilt show, and you won second place. Yes. So the quilt show is an opportunity for members like art shows and photography shows to show their quilts to the world.
Yes.
That's a wonderful reason to have it, and they're able to win ribbons. And is it just one kind of quilt, like a family tree, or are there other quilts involved?
Oh, there are many quilts involved. We can take any of these. This can be judged and hung in the quilt show. Any of these that we have here can be hung up. Anyone who wants to display a quilt that they really like can display it. And we could even have some of our grandchildren or children, make the quilts, and we can bring them in too.
Yes, we have a children's category.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We also have a clothing category. So if you want to make a tote bag or a jacket or something, that can be judged also. But I think also we not only have traditional quilts, we have modern, we have art quilts, we have every type of quilt that you can think of, and it is expanding at a really large rate.
It's becoming more and more of a trend. When
Yes.
some of the big companies are taking over the smaller shops, you know there's money behind it commercially.
Yes.
But for the average person like us, first of all, I love going to quilt shows. And because we love to look at all the different artistic interpretations of a particular theme. And so the viewer going to your show is going to have a wonderful time, just like going to an art show or photography show. Now, I understand you have a raffle quilt. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, that's right over here. And this was made by Phil Gold.
Phil Gold made this. Yes,
Yes.
I know him.
Yes, he's
I like to
he's
say
one of our quilters.
I like to say I
and
taught him
he
everything
is-
he knows. But if he heard me say that, do you know what he would do?
Yes.
He would kill me. So I won't say that. Okay. But go on. Tell me about Phil.
When I became chairman, I was talking to someone about doing a quilt, and that person said no, she wasn't going to work on things for the following quilt show. So then I went over to Phil because he just does wonderful
He's
work.
phenomenal.
He really does.
Yes,
and I
he's
said to him, would you like to do our raffle quilt for the next show in 2018? And he hesitated. He says, can I think it over? I said, yes. He says, what would it entail? I said, well, you would be be in charge of picking the design, making the quilt, getting the fabrics and everything.
Getting
and
the
then,
people together to help with it.
Yes, and just putting the whole thing together. And not only that, but displaying it. So, he's in charge of getting it out to the world to display it too.
And he answered.
And he finally called me and he says, yes, Laureen, I will do it.
And he, unlike other chairmen of doing the raffle quilts, what did he do that was so different?
Well, I gave him carte blanche.
Okay.
He did not have a committee. And in fact, at one time he did want to start one, but it was, I think what he had to do was a little bit complicated and it would take more time. So he designed it, he made it, and
it's incredible. It's
really
absolutely incredible. I'm actually blocking it behind you, and I know that's going to there. You can see a little bit more of it, but it's absolutely incredible. And he's an engineer by trade.
he was an engineer, yes.
And that shows in his quilts.
Yes.
And
His quilts, usually he starts with a large figure block or something, and then he uses the same thing over and over until it's small, till it's like an inch.
Yes.
And
He has one
he
way
has
up on
way
top.
way up in the
on
corner.
top, yes.
Way up
Yes,
in the corner.
he does. Anybody who gets this quilt is going to be very lucky.
Yes.
I personally would like to win it, but I noticed I haven't won Powerball, so my chances to Powerball this or not.
never
But
know.
it's a lovely, lovely quilt. And what are some other things people can find at the show?
Well, we have vendors, and the vendors come in from all over the state and even out of state. We have some from Rhode Island, New York State, and they sell the newest things that are out there.
And it's amazing to me. My sewing machine, when I first started to learn to quilt, was the old treadle machine, which I sorely miss, because I'm playing like I'm on a treadle, but the things that sewing machines do nowadays, and I know people who put an attachment onto their house because they picked up what's called a long arm that goes $15,000, $20,000, and I don't have one, I might add, but no, it's just not your grandmother's sewing machine, and it's not your grandmother's quilt show.
No.
So it's good to see the vendors and all the newest gadgets they have out there.
We also have class demonstrations every hour that will be posted outside one of the rooms, and in fact, it's at the Wyndham Hotel in Southbury. Now, it used to be the Crown Plaza, but they changed names and hands. So those.
Well, what is the date of the quilt show?
The date of the quilt show is April 24th. April 14th and 15th in 2018. And to remember it, we say it is tax weekend.
So bring your returns.
Now bring your money. Yeah. Now you mentioned you have skill builders. Now skill builders, it just so happens it's not necessarily these exact ones, but right behind you, you have a quilt that's going to be donated to Comfort Quilts. But they're all different skill builders. Can you explain that a little bit?
Skill Builders is a small or short program that we have at the end of every monthly meeting. And one of our members has volunteered to show us a different way to do a block. So this time we had about 7 or 8 blocks that were demonstrated, and what I had done with this one, I bought what they call a layer cake, and that is 40 pieces of fabric that are 10 by 10, and they all coordinate. So I knew that no matter what I did, it was going to go together, so it made it a lot easier for me. The one in the center, up on, not the one in the center, that one there. Yeah, that's, I can remember the name of it.
We know. Did you buy afterwards the binding and the sashing, or did that come with the layer cake?
No, that's all mine. That was all mine.
Okay, I love this idea of buying the layer cake again for the audiences, 40 pieces of 10 by 10 fabric.
Yes.
And that is wonderful to make things go together.
Yes. They also have what they call jelly rolls, which are the 2.5 inch. They have charm packs, which are 5 inches.
Well, the jelly roll is the width of the fabric, so it's 42 inches long, but it's only 2.5 inches.
Oh, right,
and that is fantastic to make because you just sew on the end, and then all of a sudden you put it all together by putting it in half and sewing it, and then you fold it in half and you sew it again. You fold it in half and sew it again.
That sounds like a good technique. I'd like to try that.
It takes like that.
Yes. But so did you find the name of that pattern up there?
Yes, that is called Reflections, and that was demonstrated by Edie Benlock. The ones on the sides is your Disappearing 9 patch, and that was by Wendy Frieden. The next one down is the, what did she call it?
It looks like butterflies to me.
No, it's Disappearing Hourglass. That's what it is. The Disappearing. That was Ellie Miller. And on the sides, I have over the column that's on the side. Come down. Come over. Up.
She takes directions. Watch your microphone.
Right there.
Okay, all right.
That is, it's hard to see, but it is Flying Geese.
Oh, okay.
And that was by Lois Cairn, and I found a way to do them a lot easier through the demonstration, but also because I'm not very accurate on Flying Geese, I use fabric that matched. So you can't see my mistakes.
Well, you know what I think is interesting?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, is that people in the Guild give their time to teach other members, and you put together these beautiful, this is really beautiful, and you're going to donate this to somebody who you don't know. And that Guild does it over and over again.
Yes.
And the money that's made for the Quilt Show, what is the date of that again?
It's tax weekend. April 14th and 15th in 2018.
The money made from the Quilt Show goes back into the charities to do these quilts. That's really just wonderful. So you told me for the members there's a quilt Guild challenge, and you can win ribbons. You told me that there's all types, modern and art and traditional, and we obviously have the large raffle quilt, and there's vendors and class demos, but there's also other things like pillows you mentioned that's going to be there, and tons of little quilts. Can you give me is this an example of little quilts that might be shown?
Yes.
I'm going to hold this up. Talk to me about this.
This was one of my first art quilts, and I had named it Allie's Aquarium because Allie's my first grandchild. And it was fussy cut, and that means I took different fish and put that on it.
Well, you fussy cut out of fabric. You cut out a motif.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes.
And how did you adhere the fish to the fabric?
With the machine. It's all machine stitching
Okay.
on this. But it gives you a chance when you do an art quilt that you can put in yarn. You can put in fancy things. And this was donated to me also, the little rocks fabric that they had.
So I feel something over this.
Yes,
What do I feel?
It's net.
You put net over this?
Yes, it's a navy blue net that is put over it to keep everything in place.
So you don't really see it. You obviously can feel it.
Yes.
But it does give it almost an impressionistic feel to
Yes.
it. Very, very nice.
Yes.
This is, and I'm noticing how you treatment of the
Yeah,
borders.
that was a new thing that I tried. Instead of putting a binding on it, I used the yarn. I had some boucle yarn and just stitched it around the edges like it was a frame.
Very, very interesting. Now, what's that you have over there that you could pull without killing yourself? So when we talk about little quilts, this is a little bit different. What it has, I'm just going to turn it around and let you see the back. This is something like
It's on a canvas.
on a canvas.
It is. It's a regular quilt. The whole, the backing, the front, and the batting are all there. And I decided I just wanted to hang it up like it was a painting.
Yes.
And this was a class that I had taken. And what we did is we took our sewing machines in that do fancy stitches. And so some of the stitches are the fancy stitches that the machine made. But we also had some threads and some yarn and things that we just zigzagged in place. And we just put it on in just swirls. And then I finished it off with some quilting that my machine does. And I put on the buttons, and then I did all the beading.
Very, very nice. So it's a chance for you to stay out of trouble.
That's right.
Yeah, it really
Keeps her off the streets.
Yeah, it keeps you off the streets at night. That's really amazing. Now, there's another little quilt behind you, leaning against the wall. Can you explain that one for me?
This one is a wonky house.
It's a wonky house.
Wonky house.
Wonky house.
And this was another class that I took. And I decided, again, with this one, the same thing, I put it on a canvas.
Okay, I'm just trying to get in the monitor. Okay, so you put in so you took at the Guild,
Yes.
they bring in speakers.
Yes.
And who was the speaker that came in for this?
Sue,
Bisowitz.
yes,
And
thank you.
You're welcome. And so this speaker gave a demo, and everybody in the Guild made something similar.
Everyone who took the class.
But you also had a little attachment to it. What did you
Well,
do?
someone mentioned while we were, this is actually supposed to be the garage area.
Oh, really?
Yes. And someone just mentioned, hey, that would be nice for a quilt hanging over there. And so I decided to put a quilt on a clothesline.
How cute is that? Was that hard to make those little bitty pieces?
Yes and no.
Did you make them?
What I did is I took some strips of material and I sewed them together, and then I cut them. And when I cut them, they were already in this size. So I would cut them and then I would juggle the pieces around so that I wouldn't have the same ones all over the place.
Oh, now that's sneaky.
And also, talking about the workshop, every meeting we have a guest speaker from all over the United States.
Yes, yes.
and they do what they call a trunk show. And they will show all their quilts that they've done and different techniques that they've done. And then the following day, we have a workshop, and you can sign up for the workshop and try their techniques.
I have to tell you honestly, that's the speakers and the workshops was the reason why I joined your guild. You're a little out of my driving area, but I joined it last year, and I was just very impressed with the quality of speaker and that you could bring in. And because your guild also has so many members, it has membership dues that can fund and support this.
Yes.
And then the result is you have some wonderful, wonderful quilts to show in your show that bring people in that can support and fund the charity that the quilt does.
Yes.
You're such a great president. You make everything fun.
Thank you.
You're up there on the stage with a microphone, and we just laugh. It's just so much fun.
Yes.
I just love it.
It is. It's great time we have.
Now,
we do a lot of work too. But
you do a lot of work, but you also mentioned that the guild has. Okay, so there's over 200 members, but one thing about your guild that I haven't seen in any other organization I'm involved in, professionally or non-professionally, is when I came into the door, someone immediately greeted me. And I was like, oh, hi. No, hi. I didn't think I was going to talk to anybody. I heard it was a big guild, and I was planning to be, sitting back and not say 2 words. And so then she said hello to me. And then she goes, let me bring you over here. And are you a guest or you want to join? I wanted to join. Let me show you where the paperwork is. When I finished, let me bring you over here. And then when I finished all that, I thought she was going to shove me away. And she goes, would you like me to put you next to someone to sit with? So you have someone to sit with, or would you rather go on your own?
Yes.
And I thought, wow. Now, I preferred to take care of that myself, but I thought if I didn't want to, if I was very, very shy, what a nice thing to do for the members.
Yes, and we do have a special committee that takes care of that. Every quilt meeting we have, there are greeters, they're called greeters, and they're at the front desk. And if you are a new person, they will seat you either with someone you know or someone
who is talkative.
Yes.
And there's plenty of those.
There's plenty of those. So now you have men in this guild. Well, obviously Phil's a man.
Yes.
Are there many men in the guild?
Not too many. We have about 3 right now. But they're active, and they make quilts, and they stand up. We have what we call a show and tell.
Yes.
And this is where, at the beginning of every meeting, everyone comes up to show the rest of the Quilt Guild what they have accomplished. And it never ceases to surprise me to see the quality of the work that these women do.
Yes.
Beautiful
work. I have to tell you, I was in one of my, I'm not really always shy, I don't know if you noticed that, but I do have my moments. And I showed a quilt, and I went and sat down, and Laureen came, so I want that quilt for the show. I said, well, I missed the deadline. And she goes, that's not a problem. I'm the chair. I said, well, I don't have a photo of it. She goes, that's not a problem. I'll take a picture. I said, well, I don't have the backing on it, so you could hang it. That's not a problem. I'll make one for you. I said, well, I'm going to be gone that weekend, so I can't. That's not a problem. Every single thing I came up with, she said,
that's not a problem.
Yeah. and so I ended up submitting, and then she helped me, and then you gave me a ribbon. What did my ribbon say?
It was the first showing.
First showing of my quilt. Now, no one else got this ribbon, but she made it after the show, and it was so sweet and so special, and it allowed me to enter into other things, because I felt all these people were, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, it's amazing. I was surprised when I joined also, thinking that, oh, it's such a big quilt. But we do have smaller meetings other than our regular big meeting, small groups.
Yes.
And people will go over each other's houses, and
they'll meet at the library.
Yes, library. So there's a lot of different places if you want to get involved in something. there's plenty for
and
you
I
to
noticed
do.
there's one in Orange, one in Woodbridge. But what are some other towns that there?
Well, Stratford has them.
has a couple.
Monroe has a library. I think there's something in Fairfield, and then there's a lot of smaller groups that are just at people's homes. And
Well, it's a wonderful way. So you have this large organization, which is very friendly, and it's hard to get the women to stop talking. I'm just saying, and it's hard to get us off the microphone when we were talking. I know.
Yes.
I noticed she hasn't let me on the microphone.
no. Once was enough.
Fine,
But next year we have jobs ready and waiting for you.
oh God! But you have smaller groups so people can feel comfortable.
Yes.
We're almost out of time. If people wanted to learn more about the Guild or more about the Quilt Show, where do they go? What do they look up?
We have a website, and it's Connecticut Piecemakers Quilt Guild.com. And when you go to that website, it has different categories about our Quilt Guild, the workshops that are available, and a lot of different information that you can get right from the website.
And what town is your guild in?
It's in Trumbull. We meet at Calvary Church on White Plains Road, and we are so happy to be there because being such a large group, we are very limited in where we can meet.
Yes, and now I'm from Branford. It's a drive to get there, but is it worth it?
Yes.
It is worth the drive. The women are wonderful. The hospitality is wonderful. The food is wonderful. And what you learn is beyond belief. So again, what is your website again?
It's Connecticut Piecemakers, and that's Piece Makers Quilt Guild.com.
Okay, thank you.
And now we're also going to be on Facebook.
Yes, great. So now if you can't remember that, if you didn't have a pen to jot that down, you can always go to my website, which is, not my website, you can always email me at jmdteach@comcast.net. But if you forget all of that, you can always contact BCTV, and they'll contact me to contact you. They won't give you my direct information. Some people have tried that, I might add. So I was very, never mind. But you can contact us that way, and we can get the information out. And we hope to see you at a guild meeting, or we hope to see you at the Quilt Show.
The
It would
Quilt
be
Show.
absolutely
Tax weekend.
Tax weekend 2018
At the Wyndham
at the Wyndham
Hotel in Southbury.
Sounds good to me. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on the program.
thank
We
you.
really loved having you.
Thank you.
Now this, we didn't